Welcome to The Aggregate, narrative codings from around the globe. It's a show that salutes the close-knit community of architects, designers, builders, and artists from our world who refuse to ration their plaster passion. Amidst a world of click-and-stick emotions, the show celebrates the spoken word and forces us to listen, process, and grow. With an open and limber mind, these subtle connected moments will provide respite to recharge with an emphasis on shared techniques and knowledge, while simultaneously fueling our fires for continued creativity on and off the job site. So take a deep breath as New Age Artisans continues to coat the planet and change the paradigm of what it means to educate, empower, and create. Greetings, I'm your host Jeremy Mastretta, along with my man on the boards, Vincent Ryan, and welcome to the show. Hey all, welcome back. Episode 19. I love the number 19. It's my wife's lucky number, so every time I see it, it makes me smile. How's everyone doing out there in the world? Hopefully great. It's been a nice week here at New Age Artisans in beautiful Bozeman. It's epic Bluebird Day out today. Buttoning up a few items in our space with some necessary shelving, and we've moved our sampling supplies from our old shop into the new multi-purpose room. And it is clean as a whistle over on Peach Street now. And Kelly, our shop manager, she's had a few audible sighs of relief, which is good because I like to keep her happy. She's amazing. Things are trucking along in manufacturing world, and we're super stoked. We're excited because we're gaining a lot of subscribers every day on our Plaster Portal platform. And it's pretty unnerving to put yourself out there in the world and be vulnerable, and lots of emotions seem to ebb and flow over the course of these passion projects, and see folks around the world believe, like my friend Ted Lasso, in what we're doing and show their support through subscription platform and purchase of our products is really, really makes my heart happy. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We're about to chat with two individuals today who are no strangers to deployment of ideas and I'm going to guess vulnerable feelings associated with passion projects. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guests, Nicolette Wagner and Ian Zatarain from the Mojave Center. How are you guys doing today?
We're good. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, as folks probably realized over 19 of these episodes, I'm a bit of a mansplainer, so introductions are always two-tiered. And folks often ask, how do we get guests for our shows? And the simple answer is community connections. And many wonder what connections existed to get these two superstars in the show. And we've got continuing education stipends at New Age Artisans for all of our employees. And we understand that to be a solid plasterer, one needs to have a multitude of skills. And early this winter, another superstar, Miss Piper Mavison, attended a dome building workshop in Baja, Mexico. And Piper returned from the trip really empowered, energetic, and eager to share her experiences, which she did on her blog, The Plaster Diaries, on her website. Check that out. And after reading the post, I felt inspired by the work of the Mojave Center, so I just reached out and said hello. And I was really happily greeted by Nicolette and Ian. So away we go. What are you guys up to today? We were talking earlier. You said it's raining a little bit there?
Yeah, it's been a big storm's been passing through, which is kind of cool because our Mojave Center is located on the edge of Death Valley. So actually this last weekend went into Death Valley and got to see the water right now. That's in the bottom of Badwater Basin because there's been so much rain lately. So it's pretty cool right now. It's kind of that's a world phenomenon when there's water in Death Valley, right?
Yeah. How are the watersheds looking? Like the coulees and everything, are they all eroded from the rain?
There was a big flood. When was that big flood? We were gone.
I think it was last September. Recently?
Yeah, there was one recently. There's always like big flash floods, and so there's a little bit of parts of roadways that get washed away. But no, Death Valley's pretty good, that whole zone. It's actually closer, maybe more south of Death Valley, where there was a big washout from last year, and it took forever to repair the road.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I see all these things. You know, I don't have a whole lot of experience with the desert per se. I mean, enough. Like I've floated the Grand Canyon and stuff and, you know, spent some time in Moab and everything. And I do know that when it does rain, though, it gets it can get rowdy. And I've seen I've watched the video. I've seen Apple News. I've seen it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also, I mean, the rain, as treacherous as it can be, it makes it so beautiful out there. Like, it's now just becoming spring, so a lot of our basins have their first, the pioneer plants that are coming up. It's so green. We have all these crazy wildflowers that are popping up, and it's really, really beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful times to be out here right now.
Yeah. I was talking to Piper this morning too. It's starting to get really beautiful here now too. I think it's like early March. I don't know what it's like in California, but there's some songbirds here, and you hear it at 5 a.m. I'm like, oh, there's spring. Spring's here. And we rolled into Big Timber, Montana this morning, and the sun was rising up over the crazy mountains, and she looked over at me. She's like, Montana's just damn showing off right now, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. Big time. Well, I was cruising around on your guys' website, and I saw that you guys have some workshops coming up soon.
Yeah.
Which workshops do you have, and where are they going to take place?
So we've had a little schedule change, but it's all for, the best. But, our next one that we're hosting is a dome building course actually in Joshua Tree. But that one is mid-April, and we've got a full house for that one already, which is crazy. We're going to build a dome out there, it's actually our friend's property. So that's a dome build. And then we're trying to line up another one right after that, because we're going to be in Joshua Tree already, and we will have all the equipment out there. So we're going to try to turn around and do another dome build on another property a little bit more north of the Joshua Tree area. And that one's going to be kind of cool because they're making a giant campground. So we're doing a shower dome and a toilet dome.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
That'll be fun because they'll be able to do some more of waterproofing plasters on the interiors, and just kind of some cool stuff there.
Yeah. The cool aspect about these workshops is that all of the people that we're working with on these ones are past students too. So one of them had taken a plaster workshop with us. He was getting so inspired off of just redoing a normal traditional house with drywall and kind of renovating it. And he came to one of our early plaster workshops, and we actually had a guest instructor at that time teaching about lime plasters. And he just got so excited that the actions that he took after that workshop, he ended up lime plastering huge areas of his house. Just going down this whole portal of then seeking other people around the Joshua Tree area to get skills from. And it was just really amazing to see his growth from that one workshop and this explosion of ideas and passions and actions that actually ended up becoming real things in his own home. And then as well as the other one that's going to be up coming up here in Northern California this year. That's another workshop where a lady is just really inspired by dome buildings, and now she's ready to put this into action. So I think we've seen throughout the years that the more students we actually have, there's a higher percentage of them now enacting the skills that we teach and wanting to integrate more parts of that into their life. So it's cool to see these workshops kind of evolving in that manner. Yeah.
There's a living organism of itself. Things seem to, especially for me, everyone always asks, how did this happen? How did you get here? And it's just I just one foot in front of the other, and this snowball started rolling, and it just started to collect more and more snow as it rolled. So I was mentioning before that I really love folks that are willing to take a creative risk, and from my perspective, I think the Mojave Center is the epitome of that. But I did some research, and it's only been around since 2021, which is a pretty short period, and it seems to be wildly successful in a short time frame. And I really don't think people just get lucky. I think that there are many elements that form a stable platform, and you need to be able to operate responsibly, which in turn makes success that much sweeter. So I want to go back a little bit to the current state of success and get to the grassroots of both of you guys and how you met and how this whole thing started. Because I just, again, it just seems so cool, and I'm like, there's a story here with these guys. Where did you guys individually grow up?
I'll start. I grew up in the Midwest. I'm from Nebraska originally. It was actually kind of funny. I just had my dad out this last week and got to show him, the place that we're kind of building out here and where I'm living. And then it sent us down, reminiscing about where I grew up and just like the thought, and my dad bought a piece of property, 25 acres in Nebraska, and kind of had this very similar homesteading idea, and through all these different, he had horses and he rented out for farmland, and we had every animal under the sun, chickens, turkeys, pheasant, quail. He just had all these birds that for some reason. And so I was very blessed to grow up on this piece of property outside of town where I literally was just like half the time my mom would joke that I would never put clothes on, just running around naked, on this property from like, a young age. And so that really instilled, looking back, that was such a happy childhood time. And so I lived there until I was about 12. And then my mom was like, oh, we should go, live in the neighborhood. And, we did for a little bit, but they kept the land. And then we ended up actually going back to the land, and living there for a little bit longer. And so, I think that's where a lot of this creation and will to get dirty, and I was, always helping projects around just following my dad around, being what is that called? The little mule where you always go get the tools, right?
Yeah.
So, so that's where I grew up in, rural Nebraska. And then eventually, we lived in Grand Island, Nebraska. That's where I went to high school at, and then I went to college and in the bigger city there, Lincoln. And then I eventually left and then headed west.
Headed west, yeah. Manifest destiny. I like that.
Yeah.
And Ian, you are a Westerner, right?
Yeah, born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area in California. And I guess similar to Nicolette, I was also kind of an outside child. We didn't have a ton of acreage ourselves, but we were close to open spaces, in the Silicon Valley, so northern Santa Cruz Mountains. And, my upbringing was pretty unique as well in the sense of, my dad was like a ceramist for a really long time, and he taught art classes, and my mom was like a painter. She painted, I think, a good portion of Neil Young's house, and then also ended up becoming a professional hairdresser in San Francisco. And so when I look back on my past, I see that I had two really pretty creative people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm a teenager, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be anything like you all. But now that I'm in my 30s or early 30s, I'm looking back and saying, oh, it's these people and whatever they did in their life has actually been a huge influence in the things that I'm interested into nowadays. So, even though the Mojave Center started in 2021, I was doing earth bag stuff in their backyard just to get my hands on it when I was 21. So about 11 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And then seeing this aspect of these coil pots and assisting my dad with some of his ceramics courses, and how that translates now into clay plasters, and how that translates now into these earthen dome buildings, which are essentially kind of large clay pot kind of structures. They're just for houses, and larger living spaces. And so now I guess I'm just wiser now to kind of draw on those initial experiences. And some of even the initial plastering that I did, he was also a carpenter too. So he was, kind of built the house that we lived in, with him and his friends. And, doing it all kind of like DIY aspect. But since he was a framer and a carpenter, I feel like he lacked like some finish skill aspects to things. And my mom knew how to paint stuff, but like there was just like, I remember when I was like in my early 20s and I was trying to help them finish some projects around the kind of homestead house and in the Bay Area, that there's like these gaps in between the walls. And like he would always like kind of try to figure out, how can I frame something in there? How can I fill this in? Like, how can I fill in these gaps now? And then like, just getting involved in earth building and seeing, oh, that's like perfect for like a little wattle and daub aspect wall right there. Or like that would be perfect for like an Adobe little section, or like a super Adobe bag section, or like this drywall would be really good and give texture to the room if we just did like a lime plaster or like a clay plaster. So, I guess like their life patterns kind of instilled what, I ended up getting into later on in life.
Have you led on to either of your parents that they were inspirational in your upbringing?
Yeah, totally. I mean, some of the walls that I initially plastered, in the Bay Area are still there, you know, so they took a while to paint some of these drywall. And so it had like spackle marks and stuff. They let us like draw on the walls when I was a kid. So like drawings like that were still on the picture, but then they couldn't decide on like a paint color. So then like I came in later on in my early 20s and I was like, I just like really psyched off of like clay plasters and really psyched off of using lime. And I didn't know anything about it other than like reading stuff on the internet. But then giving me pretty much my initial canvases to try out on, you know, like my initial walls to do something on that are still there. And I look back on, it's like, oh, you know, I did a pretty good job for like someone that had no idea how to do this stuff. And, yeah, so they're still there. It's like kind of testament to like maybe my early work, you could say.
Yeah, I've got a few of those things in my house as well. Still, I kind of look back on them like, that doesn't look great, but that's me right there. That's how we started. Yeah. Yes, I love hearing about, you know, the childhood upbringing, but there's also some pretty formative years. At least they were formative years for me when I went to college. And Nicolette, I know you said you went to Lincoln, Nebraska College?
Yeah, UNL.
Nice. Ian, how about you?
I actually went to Oregon State University in Bend, Oregon.
Nice. Awesome.
We joke that Ian went to college to snowboard.
Yeah, to snowboard and learn how to camp and rock climb.
Yeah, I mean, I went to college at the University of Bridger Bowl, also known as Montana State University. So it's the same thing. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how I got a degree in 4 years with skiing, like almost 100 days a year, but I did. So it's awesome. You probably learn more on the snowboard than you would in the class, honestly.
Yeah. Luckily, most of my classes are pretty engaging too. But yeah, definitely it was nice to go up to the mountain before class every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
dream.
Yeah, Nicolette, you did not get a degree in snowboarding in Nebraska, but you do have a drafting background, right?
Yeah. So mine was a very flat land experience. There were no mountains. We would get the occasional drive 9 hours to Denver, you know, to the mountains in Denver. But yeah, so I studied. I got an undergraduate degree in architecture. Mm-hmm. So I actually did 2 years of architecture and 2 years of interior design, and you all graduate with a bachelor's in science and design, which is pretty cool. And then you can go on to do an accelerated program and get your master's in architecture and do all that. I decided not to go on to the master's program. I still could, and I'm thinking about it. But at the time, I just didn't know where I wanted to take this. You know, I got introduced into drafting actually in high school. I took my senior year of high school. I needed another like elective, and one of them was drafting. And I had already taken every art class you possibly could, like, and in high school. So drafting was the only one that was like left on that side of the building. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm pretty good at math. Let's give it a wing. And I absolutely like loved it. And I was pretty much like the teacher's pet, star student. I was really fast at it. I picked it up really, really quick. And like my teacher was,
always giving me like extra credit, like projects and things to do and design in. And so that just like opened up this, I don't know how to describe it, but it just kind of clicked a lot of things with me because I'm really good at like visualizing things 3D.
Mm-hmm.
So then to be able to draw that and take your ideas and like extrude it into this, I don't know, this program was just so cool, you know? So that's what really, that class in high school is what sent me on this, like, oh, he was the one that was like, you should go into like drafting or architecture or something. And I was like, actually, this actually sounds pretty good. Like, I loved the game Sims when I was younger, and all I did was design the houses. I never actually played the game.
Yeah.
So that's how I went into that. And yeah, architecture school was really cool. I mean, it, obviously the school portion of it, it's way more fun because there's no budgets, there's no limits, there's no like real life aspects of it. You know, you just like, they just really want you to dream it.
Yeah.
And then I went on to, working in a small architecture, it was more of an interior design firm where we built like high-end homes and did remodels. So I did that for a little bit.
Yeah, and that was kind of like maybe not the most enjoyable experience for you?
Yeah, it was. I think I learned a lot. Like looking back now, it's like I did have to go through that to understand how much goes into building a house and how many like moving parts there are. And also, I guess, see maybe what was like wrong. You know, you kind of have to like see it and live it and be like, there's got to be like something better, you know?
Yeah, there's a better way to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, I remember I can't remember who I was having the conversation with exactly, but, you know, I was like, oh, yeah, one day I'm going to, like, design and build my own home. And somebody kind of shut me down, and they were like, well, yeah, like, maybe, like, do you think you could ever afford that? And it was like, yeah, like, I'm going to make it. Like, I'm going to do that, you know? And that was, like, a conversation I remember was just like, wow, I'm totally going to be able to afford my own house because it's not going to look like this. It's not going to look like this, you know, $1.2 million house, and you know, it's going to be handcrafted. And I don't know, a lot of the stuff that we did in the firm, you're designing for other people. So you're having to take into consideration their design choices as well. Mm-hmm. And the needs of the client, but it was still so cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Nobody was like putting these elegant crafts or these elegant ideas or doing things different. It was like, oh, you saw it on Pinterest, let's try to replicate it.
Yeah, let's try to replicate it. Let's put our own little spin on it. Right now, it's like, we do a lot of very, very high-end plaster work now. There's an incredible amount of wealth here in Southwest Montana. And the steel and the barnwood and the rock and the plaster, I mean, it's becoming pretty redundant in the world of contemporary construction. And like every once in a while, I'll bump into something. I'm like, okay, now this is awesome. This is like something I've never seen before. And, you know, there's a lot of desire to try and like reinvent the wheel in modern construction. And like, let's see how tight we can get the reveals. Let's see how absolutely perfect we can make these houses. And it's just like slamming my head against the board because it's just like, it's sad to me, honestly, what's happening in the world. But it, you know, fuels the economy here. So I'm forced to play along. So it's awesome that you guys were able to kind of break out of those norms and see a problem and make a change with it.
Yeah.
With the homes that you guys are building.
Yeah, I was rarely like wowed by any of the things that we were doing, you know, and I just think it was showing that it was the wrong field for me, I guess. It was like, okay, I don't actually connect to any of this stuff. It's like, and I think that's ultimately it led to my, I left the field. I was seeking some sort of like reconnection to the architecture world. You know, I just spent all this time like getting a degree, and it was like, oh man, like now what am I going to do? I kind of went with like a quarter life crisis, you know, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to like try to go find myself. And that's actually where I met Ian, was on that journey, because then I met him, and he was, just said the words to me like, oh, I was doing this natural building project. And I was just like, what? Like, what is that? Like, I just went through all this school and nobody ever said the words. I didn't grow up in the Southwest. Like, Adobe homes weren't like a common lingo. But then later I find out that there's a really, really old straw bale house in Nebraska. And it's like, why didn't any of my professors tell me about this? They're like, lead me down this, because all of my projects that I had done in school were like screaming natural building.
Mm-hmm.
But if the words would have been said to me, then maybe I could have, I was searching for that like term, I guess. Yeah.
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't have had the respect for it now that you do, because
maybe
you've had the experience that, some might look at it and say, oh, that was a negative experience. But to me, from where I'm sitting, it sounds like it's probably pretty positive, because now you have the perspective to have such respect for it, for these other forms. And
That's
then,
true.
Yeah, you guys did you guys meet in Thailand?
Yeah, we did actually. I was working in South Korea as a outdoor educator, and I went on like a work or just a vacation trip after my contract had ended. And we met in Tansai, which is like a popular rock climbing area in southern Thailand. Met there, and that's where we weren't like romantically involved or anything at that point, but we had a friendship had started.
Yeah.
And later on is when we actually, many years later, that we reconnected again.
Yeah, back in the States, reconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, no, back in the States, but then in South America, I invited her to come on this trip with me to Colombia. I was trying to see if I could develop a program down there where we could spend time in the jungle and come to appreciate the place, and see if other people would kind of appreciate it as much as I did. So I think a group of like 6 of us or 8 of us total went down. And I kind of showed them the things that were kind of impactful to me. And she helped take some photographs for that adventure.
Gotcha. And that's where the true connection started?
That was kind of like another rekindling and the growth of the connection for sure.
Mm-hmm. I love a good love story. We had a guy on the show a few episodes ago from Germany, and he told us the story of how he got together with his wife of 40-something years, and they have this amazing worldwide lime wash company, and they sell their materials all over the world. And it was just like to hear his story and to hear how it all went down. I'm like, oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it was our little like love story. I met Ian 2 days in Thailand. I don't even think it was a full, 48 hours. Got his like Facebook name, right? And then 3 years had gone by in between this, like 3 years, we went on our own like life path, blah, blah, blah. And then he messages me on Facebook Messenger and is like, hey, I'm going to go to Colombia and I remember you're a photographer. Do you want to come help me like promote this trip down there? And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it, So I met him 2 days in Thailand, and the next time that I met him was in South America 3 years later. So
3 years later. Yeah. Hook, line, and sinker, you doggy it. Nice work. Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
For the win. Is that still a thing? I don't even know. Does that even work anymore?
What, Facebook?
Well, I know Facebook works. I can't shake it. It's like a bad cold. It won't go away. But like, does it work? Does Facebook Messengers, is that still a thing?
I think it still is a thing. I don't use it as much as I once did, but I should, because I know it's like the best way of kind of interacting with your international friends.
Yeah.
Other than WhatsApp, but
yeah. Yep. Yeah. I love WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ian, you besides just, the trip down to South America, you led a lot of backpacking trips as well. You were a guide of sorts, right?
Yeah, mainly outdoor education. So it was like kind of introductory rock courses, like single pitch stuff. And then also a little bit of flat water, kind of up to class 3 things in South Korea, and a lot of, backpacking programs, long backpacking programs, and a lot for like teenagers around like the age of, like 17, 18-year-olds. Similar to like what, I don't know if you've heard of like Outward Bound or the National Outdoor Leadership School, but instead of like working for a larger organization like that, which I did work for both of those as well, I've spent a lot of time in like the private school sector, that these schools that had enough money to invest into like their outdoor education departments.
Yeah.
And so led a lot of long trips in remote areas.
Sure. Yeah. Outward Bound. It's not so much of a thing here. I mean, I definitely know what it is. I'm from the East Coast, so it was very popular on the East Coast, but Knowles is definitely a thing. And we always joke when everyone's, we're ever camping, we're like, oh, here comes the Knowles it all. They're coming. They're going to tell us how it is.
Yeah,
Big lots of laughter around the campfires with that.
That's funny.
But how do you think the innate leadership role has helped you out in the Mojave Center?
I think it's been super crucial because a lot of the work is about, like the work that we do is a lot about group facilitation and bringing people together and like breaking down boundaries and providing activities and skills for them along the route, and then also like reflecting on that time together too. So I would say if you were to like look up our Yelp review, which we don't have one, you'd see a lot of the students and the people that have come to our workshops say that they're really inspired about what we're doing, but and that they enjoyed all the people that they met and the relationships and the connections that they were able to get from that workshop of like bringing together all these people that are kind of like-minded or have interests, and then they leave that special experience and they're usually still in contact with each other or trying to plan projects themselves and like work together to grow the network. And so that outdoor guiding and leadership aspect of that it's instead of just like, bringing these people outside for a long periods of time and forming groups in that environment through challenge and through the activity of like, say, backpacking. It's we don't have to walk as far and we're just like in one location and we don't have to carry as many things. But we're still giving like a really engaging kind of earth connected experience. And that was actually kind of one of the main influences behind starting the center too, was that I felt like, not everybody can go on outdoor programs or outdoor trips, and sometimes they can be cost prohibitive and they can be kind of intimidating because they are people think that you need like a certain high level of skill set or the right equipment or clothes to go and do those activities, and that can limit people to get into those sorts of experiences. So I was trying to find a spot that, and we continue to find like different sites where we're going to be able to connect people to like the outdoor world, like the beauty, like they like, for example, with our site out in the desert, like they come there, they see what we're doing. It's really, they are inspired by that, but then they're also connected to like that desert feeling of like the vastness of it and the openness to all of that. And I think they get something from that as well.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, I mean, just getting your hands dirty and then sharing in the camaraderie. I've talked about it before a few times of just like the bond that is created and the strengths that people discover within themselves when kind of enduring a little bit of hardship in the building experience, and what people can learn from each other is, I mean, it's palpable. It's amazing. And to me, from my outward point of view, looking kind of in at the Mojave Center on your outward facing site and your social media and stuff, I was really, really taken by the quality of the imagery. And I know it's not an overnight skill. I mean, I've got an iPhone 13 and I just like take a photo, but I also know that when I'm going to take professional photos of the work we do, we've got an in-house photographer, and then we also have somebody that we hire professionally, my friend Dan Armstrong, who's been on the show as well. And he is very skilled in taking these photos, and the quality of the imagery really speaks to how much skin you guys have in the game. But Nicolette, where did you learn photography? And also on top of it, your marketing it's phenomenal. Like, I want to go. I want to be part of it. Where did you learn all these skills?
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. I guess I'm self-taught. I think a lot of it actually had to do like going back into architecture school, because you basically just have to come up with these ideas and then you have to be able to like put them on these boards and basically present your ideas using no words. And so I kind of had like, I don't know, 4 years of doing that in college, coming up with these ideas, putting it on these, you're marketing your project, you're marketing your ideas. And so I guess it became pretty natural when I found something that I really, connected with and could, just pour my soul into. And so I started with a camera, and I guess I don't know why I picked up the camera. I just had this idea of like, maybe I'd be good at that. It kind of seems like the creative outlet I needed. Because actually while I was working at the firm, even though I was doing, designing stuff, like that was not like it wasn't creative enough for me. And so I was seeking something more creative. And so literally I just bought a camera overnight and then I just started taking photos of anything and everything. And then I started traveling and started taking pictures while traveling and just started getting good at it. And enjoyed it. Watched a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of self-taught stuff. But I think just having that overall creative eye and just having the design, background helped me do it quickly. So then I came back from we'll call it my quarter life crisis of, traveling. And I came back to the States and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to be a full-time photographer. Like, let's see if I can do this. So I started shooting people. Actually, I actually started shooting, what is it called when you do like real estate? I just started doing real estate photos and working for real estate companies. And that was kind of a nice little, easy income to do. And then I started getting better at, I started photographing families and people, and then I actually went into the wedding world, and I've been a wedding photographer for the last 8 years. A wedding photographer with an emphasis in travel. So I've actually shot, a couple weddings in Joshua Tree. I've done it in Zion. I'm doing one this next year in Jackson Hole, and it's actually been a lot more elopement type weddings because I have this like adventure-esque, I don't know, I'm pretty good at, venturing and finding remote places to have weddings. And so that's, I guess, where the photography stuff came into.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting because, you're certainly conveying a message in the photos. Like I said, I see them and I'm like, God, I want to be there. Like, that looks so awesome. So I think having that, from where I sit, it seems like having the vision of what you want the Mojave Center to be, and then being able to, kind of use your camera as kind of the conduit or the bridge for it is probably pretty amazing and empowering too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, marketing is everything. We wouldn't have a business if it wasn't for social media and marketing. And so, I mean, we just wouldn't have been able to connect with, the hundreds of people that we've met. We actually just had like Patagonia workwear come out on our last build in December, and that was all from just being consistent. And I think you also, you just show the beautiful side of things, but you also have to show the raw side of things and show the personalities, because it's which is also why I think it's so cool you're doing this podcast too, because as a business, people don't like following businesses, they like following the people and the story behind the people. And so this is, it's super cool that you're doing podcasts like this, and get to know you guys more. And
it's really fun. It's like a photo is just like a snippet into the lives of people, and you kind of get an idea. But when you really sit down and take the time to understand the depth and the breadth of a person, it's what is amazing. And I saw those workwear photos that you had, and I too, ironically, am actually wearing Patagonia workwear. How was the Mojave Center created? Was it kind of a conscious decision, or did it like slowly turn into an idea that became a reality? And then how many years did it take to really create it to where the time you had your first student?
That's funny. It was kind of a long path. So I guess when I had first met Nicolette in mid 2010s, I was already kind of on this path of getting pretty interested in like permaculture and alternative style building, and it was just kind of dabbling. So I mentioned earlier that I did these like plaster walls at my parents' house, tried to do some earth bag buildings there. And so it was kind of this progression of just like being really interested in it. And for a while, I actually went into education too. So, and was working towards becoming an international teacher. So I went to all these like professional teaching certs and got my teaching license. And then the pandemic kind of happened. And so natural building had always been like this thing that I always just wanted to do. If like there was a dream, I wish I would become like this master natural builder and just live in an earth home at the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. And so seeing that the pandemic kind of was like, I think, a catalyst for a lot of bad things, but also a lot of good things in people in the world. It was kind of a good catalyst for me because it made me slow down and kind of reassess on like what exactly I wanted to do with like, say, like, you know, if the world was going to end, what kind of like final things would I want to accomplish, or what kind of like final things would I want to put my energy towards? And I guess that manifested in the form of like, you know, natural building and clay plasters and just plastering. And that was what I wanted to do before I died, I guess.
Yeah. Legacy
Let's do
piece.
more of that.
Yeah.
So it was a slow path for sure. Like when people ask me how I got into it, it's like, you know, it starts with my parents and then it goes to initial experiences like building adobe houses in northern Thailand, you know, then to doing work in Colombia and learning about plasters. So it's like a slow, continual kind of like dabbling, but just people showing me things, mentors, and then finally getting to the point where it's like, oh no, like I really want this to be a very large part of my life. And I feel like I had a good enough skill set to start sharing that with other people as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amazing. Let's take a quick break. And then when we return, I want to talk about kind of the nuts and bolts of the Mojave Center and all of the great offerings that you guys have.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Plaster is an enigma. With so many recipes, techniques, and applications, its variety of definitions and shrouded secrets have muddled millions. Even with its ancient mysteries, there seems to be a spread in its modern popularity. Possessed by Pinterest and Insta images, newcomers frantically search the halls of Google, patching together some sense of structure to create three-dimensional walls, organic cornices, abstract art, and relief sculpture. What if the journey of discovering wasn't so daunting? What if all the coveted information was encapsulated under one roof? Wait no longer. We have amassed thousands of years of practice, technique, and art into one hub, the Plaster Portal. Through our modern technology, the portal preserves these processes and offers people around the world the opportunity to learn directly from the masters. And we're inviting you to be part of this paradigm shift. Please consider becoming a member today. With a small annual fee, your baseline membership provides purchasing access to New Age artisan plaster blends, as well as curated content, including instructional videos, books, and specialty blog posts. And that's not it. You'll gain access to our ever-growing artist series classes, highlighting niche plaster finishes and industry professionals from around the world, eager to share their time-honored techniques. Together, we can inspire the world to celebrate these trades, discover new and valuable skills, and save the arts. Head to newageartisans.com and click the Plaster Portal link. Sign up is fast and easy and affordable. We can't wait to have you part of our community. Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Back with Nicolette and Ian. And before the break, we were talking about the infancy of the Mojave Center and kind of its slow roll and percolation. One thing that we didn't actually get an answer on, Nicolette, how long did it actually take for the first student to roll through your doors?
Yeah, so it was pretty quick. Ian purchased the property September of 2020, right? Yeah. And then the first thing he did was buy a giant soundbox speaker and put it on the property and had himself the biggest dance party ever. And that's, and then right after that we had our first Halloween party, which Halloween parties are kind of our, they just quickly came into our fundraising party, our big party that we do every year. So got the raw piece of land. We had a bunch of friends come out and just do like a crazy Halloween party out there. And that's when we had our first like brainstorming session, and that's where I really got involved. And we started marketing for our first workshop in January of 2021. And we had connected with a friend from Cal Earth, and he had agreed to come out and teach the first dome workshop out there. So we hired our friend Cade, who he's all over our Instagram. He's a super great guy. And so, yeah, we started formulating the idea in October right after Halloween. And then within 3 months, we had a shipping container dropped on the property. We got a makeshift trailer that we turned into our community kitchen. And then Ian worked on the solar and all that stuff. And we had a makeshift, composting toilet and an outdoor shower. And it was, raw piece of land. And then, so we hired Cade to come out. And so then January 21st, we broke ground on the Oasis Dome, which is the large dome on our property. And that was the first one that we learned on. Cade taught us, and we had 5 students come out. And for an entire month, we built that Oasis Dome. And in some ways, it was like, how did we convince, 5 people to come out and build, this dome with us? But that was it just rolled from there. I mean, I was posting everything on Instagram, and because it was like prime COVID time, we definitely had like a pod out there, and it was just us like living in the desert together. But I was posting it all on social media, and from there, I was just getting so many people like, how can I get involved? How can I get involved? Like, I want to come out. Where are you guys at? Question after question. Because I think people were just really craving something to do, something meaningful. And that's what really like started the snowball, was just being consistently posting what we're doing and just, showing that we're on a whim kind of figuring this out. Well, I mean, Cade knew what he was doing, but he was teaching us along the way. And yeah, that's kind of how it started. So
yeah, you guys were kind of like building the plane while flying it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
which is,
that's kind of how we work, I guess.
That's how I work every day, honestly. People ask me all sorts of questions. They're like, well, what do you think about this? I'm like, I don't know. Let me think about it. They're like, well, you don't know the answer? I'm like, dude, I make this shit up like literally 5 seconds before I do it. Like, just
yeah, exactly.
Just experience it. Just give me a second to think, and we'll see where we get. But since those first 5 students, you guys have had hundreds of students that have attended your workshop in this short period of time, and they're all like really stoked to pull up their sleeves and get dirty.
Yeah.
And have a round understanding of natural building and learn all these natural lifelong skills. And the building community natural building community especially, it's pretty eclectic. I'm always amazed by the people that I meet in the natural building world. And it seems that each facet kind of radiates out of another, and it's all very, very interconnected, as Ian was mentioning before. And I noticed when I was looking at your website, you had the why.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, do they know what I know? I don't know if they know. Do you guys know who Simon Sinek is?
I actually don't. Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know who he was until somebody introduced me to him. And he has got this amazing TED Talk that we can put in the show notes. And he has this notion of the golden circle. And it's these 3 spheres, and right in the middle is the why. And then it radiates out to the how. And then it radiates out to the what. And it's a subconscious phenomenon that details leadership qualities in business. And if a company can accurately describe its why, like why do they do things, they're going to have a workforce that shows up every day ready to roll, because you guys are all working for the same mission. And your guys' why, from where I sit, is really palpable.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's why you guys get out of bed every morning to celebrate natural building. So tell us a little bit about it and how your mission is integrated into every activity. What's the mission statement of the Mojave Center?
You want to take this one?
Yeah. So, you kind of laid it out. So our ultimate goal really behind the Mojave Center is to inspire a meaningful and natural bond to our natural world. And we really accomplish that through the skills that we teach people, the using of natural materials in our environment and from the local areas, and then creating those materials in something that we can apply with our own hands or mix with our own hands, and we design and formulate with our own hands. So that ultimately is like a vehicle that helps to reconnect people to the beauty of like these spaces that we do those activities in, the beauty of those materials, and then also the sense of place of where they are too. So the importance behind where they are as well.
I also think there's a huge thing that we teach, or I guess showcase maybe, is just empowering people that you can build your own house and you can do this, and it doesn't have to look like, it can look however you want. People I think like to see an example of something and then replicate the example. Mm-hmm. And I think you can dig deeper than that, like empower you that through like some skills. I mean, it's like you said, you kind of make things up on the fly as you go, same thing with us. Like if you can have those like baseline skills, and then you can start to create from that. And then a lot of it does come from like your inner soul, right? And you're empowered to take that and continue building, and it can look however you want. And so through those like tactful skills and knowing how to work with materials, like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe using it, an image on Pinterest or Instagram as kind of a launch pad to start, and then like churn it into your own. Mm-hmm. That's the best thing, with the skills that they've learned from you guys, and also the community around them that's there taking the workshop with them.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were kind of alluding to beforehand, was that while the activity is like very grounding and skill based, and is like used in the creation of like a product, like a home or like a beautiful wall, I think what like is kind of like the most impactful aspect for a lot of people is the experience and the time that they actually end up sharing with each other during that process.
Yeah, that's what Piper said too. Piper said, the time I had with these people, she's like, I'm friends with every one of them now. These are my lifelong friends that I met at these classes. So that is...
Yeah, the natural building's like just the activity. It goes so much deeper than that. It's like the activity of why we're all here. But really, it's about connecting you to like-minded people so that now you have, 20 friends to come help you do your dream, and then you're going to go help them do their dream. And it's just this interconnected web.
Yeah. Besides just strictly dome building, you've got an array of other skills that you teach and promote. Which ones do you think are your favorite skills?
Obviously, like the plastering courses that we do are so fun because it's like the finish work, and it's the stuff of like, I'm actually kind of done with this structure.
Yeah, icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's time to put the icing on the cake, which is so satisfying because it takes a while to get to that stage, as I'm sure you know. Mm-hmm. And those final touches they're just they can be even more intricate than like maybe like the structural components of a house, whether if it's like earth bag or straw bale or timber frame or whatever it is, or adobe house. While those do have their own like intricate kind of characteristics, the plaster is like, I feel like kind of where you really start to express your painting skills, or it's your plastering skills, but like kind of where you start putting that paint on the canvas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that.
I also like, so with the plastering ones, we try to, there's a couple different like lengths of workshops we do. So obviously there's just plaster workshops, but there's another one that we do, we just call it building with earth. And so you start from like nothing, which most times it's a bench or a fire pit or something small, like a small project that can be attainable in a weekend course. And so we start with like, let's say a bench, and we'll build it in Super Adobe, and it'll go literally, there's nothing on the ground. And then by the end of the day, there's like this nice bench with a backrest. And then we go to the mixing machine and we make some Adobe bricks and show how you do that. And then we'll have pre-made dry bricks ready from that we've made with the last workshop. And we'll take those dry bricks and we'll stack them on top of that bench. And then the next day, so the day one is all building with earth, and then day two of the workshop is plastering. So we'll go into the clay plasters and we'll cover the bench, and then we'll do a lime section on it, and then we'll add some color. And then by the end of the workshop, we had this like blank piece of ground that was like nothing. And then by the end of the workshop, everyone's like so proud of this bench, that they made and just got to bring to life. And it's like a completed small project. And so I think that really clicks for people on just like how fast you can do it. Like it's not a scary thing. And even if it came out not the way you're looking, like it's made of dirt, like you can dirt or the soil, and it wasn't that, cost effective. All it was your time, and you got to work with it being from start to end. So that's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's amazing. And yeah, it's not like, there's still dirt around. You can always make more.
Yeah.
And on top of it, when you get to do something a second time, you've learned from your mistakes the first time.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
That's what I've learned. And I mean, I would say, unfortunately, my professional career, I haven't been really happy to redo things 2 or 3 times, but I am able to streamline the efficiency of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, the natural building world, it's got an eclectic group of characters, and it seems that there are a lot of people that travel to workshops as you guys did in your youth. Where's the farthest student come from?
Well, Australia.
It's pretty far.
German. Well, yeah, Hungary. We had a lady who was originally from Zimbabwe, but she had been living in Salt Lake. So I don't know if we count that one.
It's kind of a cheater, but we'll take it. Yep, Zimbabwe. Check.
Jamaica.
Okay.
That one was fun. She was great. Yeah, a few Europeans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Nice. So yeah, you're hitting some dots in just a few years.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. You mentioned the first class had 5 students, but right now, your next class, how many students will you have?
So we've kind of found a sweet spot. At some point we would love to like everybody come, but at some point there's too many hands, or it's just not like if there is too many hands, not everybody gets a hand on the project, So we've had to cap it. 25 seems to be the sweet number for each workshop.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our cap now, 25, which is great because then we can, make sure that each student gets what they need out of the workshop versus if we had, double that. There's too many hands, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen, and then people become idle and things aren't efficient. It's a delicate balance for sure. What's the minimum class size?
Our plaster workshops, we do 6 people, and we actually cap it. I should say we cap it. Like different workshops have different cap sizes. So plastering, we do six students. Just because for a plaster project, we want to make sure that we're getting way more like hands-on with each student. And if there's too many of them, then it's like too much to chase around and be like, oh, here, wait, actually maybe try this or this,
Yeah.
So 6 is kind of for the plaster workshops, and then for the dome workshops, it's a minimum of 7. You kind of there's 7 jobs on the dome workshop site. And if you don't have all 7 spots filled, then it becomes harder for everyone else.
Yeah, more work, more lifting, more maneuvering, all those heavy bags.
Yeah, but you can do it. I mean, Ian and I have done a lot of the Super Adobe building with just us 2, and we've gotten a pretty good flow of it. It just takes a little bit longer, I guess. So you can do it. We always like tell people, people are like, oh, like if I did do the super Adobe method for my building, for my house that I want to build, like I have to have a crew of people. And it's like, no, you could probably get away with it for like 4 people, but it's just going to be, if you had 7, it'd be like, great.
Yeah. Many hands make light work.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Stepping back to the golden circle and the radiation, we'll go to the how now. We've discovered the why, which is the why that pulled me in. Like I'm going to go to one of these workshops and I want to be a part of it. But how they work, that's an interesting thing to me as well. You guys are a nonprofit, right? 501c3?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How does your tax status help in your mission?
I think in the main aspect of it is that it was always started in like kind of the idea of helping like the cause of promoting natural building and like the promotion of skills and the promotion of giving people the opportunity to kind of take the aspect of housing maybe into their own hands. And so that was kind of always the guiding philosophy. It was like never really wanting to like capitalize and make a bunch of money off of it. It was like always kind of started as like a passion project. And I think in a way, even though we're successful in that aspect, it will always kind of continue as a passion project of like trying to get people excited about building these things and trying to get them excited about kind of adopting the lifestyle of like natural building. So, so that, I guess that was just kind of how it like naturally came about. We don't really, people say, oh, you should write some grants and you should try to find like, funding for certain things. And I think that would be a really good idea in the future. But as of now, like, we've talked to other people that are mentors and they have similar kind of, they've walked certain similar types of paths that we've walked, but maybe a little bit older. And they just say that, like, the best way is to really just work with the people. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of like what our strategy has been so far. It's just like, how can we make the best and most meaningful experience for folks so that then the word will travel on from there. And I guess that's why we don't focus on like grants or anything like that. But we do have a few people that have definitely donated to our cause, even from the beginning. And a lot of our activities have been like humanitarian based or like philanthropic. And I might not be saying that right, but philanthropy, right? Work. Yep. So we've done buildings for indigenous people in the middle of Colombia. We've helped sponsor like tree replanting projects through the medium of the Mojave Center, even though that's like natural building might be a component of it. Kind of the idea of formulating these like sustainable human settlements has been, our aspect of donating and fundraising for the projects that we really believe in as well too. So,
it's kind of like a strategic alignment of sorts.
Right. Yeah. So it's like the actions that we're doing and the things that we believe in are very kind of like humanitarian based and wanting to make the world a better place. And people, I think that's why people see that. And so that's kind of the model that we've chosen. I think it'd be kind of strange to go to like a for-profit entity where we're maybe like selling products and selling, certain things where like what we really believe in is like, education and, providing importance and, having the ability to make these ideas and these, things that we believe in and become like a reality.
Yeah. It's like the classic clash of commerce. Once you start involving money in it, and once you start making, alignments with other people, even with grants too, people are very easily swayed, and now you can really stick to your why because you are nonprofit. And to be a nonprofit, it is actually okay to make money being a nonprofit person, but you're going to make money in the way that you would like to make it.
Yeah.
Not the way someone else is going to try and manipulate you to make it so that they can get a return on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's we've thought about that in the past, but then it always comes back to like, well, whatever the workshops that we run, while we do charge like a tuition or ask for like a donation for our time and the skills that we're kind of teaching or the things that we're trying to pass on to folks, that just helps us become better instructors. That helps us develop new ways of teaching people. That helps us really focus in on like the student experience, and ultimately helps us become more and more of masters in our field, quote unquote masters in our field, so that we can, like the next group of students, they're getting even better information than the ones beforehand.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the income has, gone directly back into the Mojave Center, like, plot, so that each time you come back, it's like a better experience for the future students,
Mm-hmm.
So, a bigger class, a better classroom, a better, a nicer, just like a nicer cooking experience. And
yeah, sink the money right back into the company.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do a tremendous amount of, especially over the past 6 months. It's money's made out in the field, and it just goes right back into home base.
Yeah.
So that there's a stable platform for everyone that works there, so they can come back to our warehouse, come back to our shop, and be really, really comfortable. It's like a home away from home.
Yeah.
For everybody. How are you guys able to find locations to build on? I mean, I know that you have your land that you build on, but
Mm-hmm.
You guys have traveled to Mexico with Piper. How does that all work out?
It all kind of like goes back to like our students too, and the people that reach out to us. Most of the ones, like the places that we've gone and built or like helped sponsor buildings for, we have some sort of connection to. So like they're either a past student or, like the one that we've done in South America. And one of the projects we did in South America on the northern coast was with someone that was, had just tried to do like earth bag dome building on his own, but then, didn't really have any formal training. He made these structures happen, but seeing that he was excited on like, he had done this a fairly like impressive job for like having no skill whatsoever on how to build them. And then us having the opportunity to provide like a really cool experience for students, but also impart like the skills necessary for him and them to like build these structures in a really safe manner, is how we chose that site, for example. And so that kind of just comes up naturally, like
students will come. There's like, our students are all different, of different backgrounds. Some people come in mind with like, they have already got a piece of property. They're coming solely to our project to like learn how to build and start on their property. And then if the connection is right, their location is right, or, whatever, and it makes sense, then we try to reciprocate and help, build or, host a workshop on their land. So yeah, it's a lot of students, have we built for anybody that's not a student? I don't think so.
I'm trying to think of like, no one that's, and maybe those are like, initially we might have done something for someone that just reached out to us. And those, to be honest, I think one of like that one project that I'm thinking about was probably maybe one of the hardest ones to do.
Because they hadn't invested into like, they hadn't come to the Mojave Center. They hadn't like seen what we're all about, and went through a workshop and understood how we do what we do. So they just weren't as invested, I guess. Yeah,
like it was more of like, I guess them probably wanting more of like a traditional contractor to come out and do like, I'm just going to stay inside. You all build this cool thing, so I'm interested in it. And I'm not going to really have any connection to that stuff. But like the whole aspect of networking within this natural building community is that like all the hands kind of come together to make something happen. And I think when you have that missing component, then it turns into something completely different.
Yeah. Getting back to the, to a degree, like a little bit of manipulation from somebody else to get what they want out of it. And what you want isn't necessarily the structure. The structure is not the end goal. It's the entire process of making it from start to finish, which is the goal. It's the destination is the journey.
Yeah. And I think the students that we've had that have come through, they've experienced a dome course, and then now we've like gone to their property. For instance, I'm thinking the Mexico one.
Yeah.
I'll say his name. So Nas came to our dome workshop. He found out the dome workshop was happening like 2 days before we were doing it. He flew all the way, from Mexico, came up and did it, and then was like, how can I get you guys, to like, he saw the dream, he felt the dream, he connected everybody, and then he was like, how do we do this? Like, I'm ready. And he just is so eager. And then when we get there and do the dome workshop, that like energy of like, wow, I went through the work, I went through it, and now it's like the dream came alive like really quickly. It was just, that was the energy that was like feeding on the whole time we were there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also noticed too in Piper's blog post, it looked like you guys had some delicious food. How were folks fed there?
So at our workshops outside the Mojave Center, we hire a chef. And actually, our chef that I've been using the last like few times, I mean, I think he's cooked for us for like 10 times, like kind of crazy. He was one of our first like dome workshop students, and he just, while during the workshop, he was like, "Hey, like this is what I can offer you guys. Like I want to continually be involved." And so Lucas is our like in-house chef that we always have come out, and so he takes care of it all. And provides these really delicious meals. And then when we're traveling, if it's within the United States, I try to always offer it to Lucas, but it's mainly like location dependent,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we always have a chef on site because that is like super important to us. It's like group meals and group community, group dining. So there's something to be said about like dining together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then down in Mexico, that was a connection that we had. Like Nas, this was like a family friend of, that she was a wonderful lady, Alba. And so we try to make it as authentic as possible,
Yeah. I was at a workshop a few years ago in the south of France, and every day at the workshop, I mean, it was almost as if the food at the workshop cost more than the price of the workshop, the 3 days. I mean, it was unbelievable. We were paid back in lunches. I mean, it was, it was unbelievable. Yeah. And then the whole notion of, working together in the morning and then having lunch together in the early afternoon really kind of set the tone for the morale, which I 100% agree with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It also, we kind of have to have a chef or a scheduled a day to stay on track because, building takes a while.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure that everyone's like getting back to the job site or to the classroom at a certain amount of time. If you can't, I guess it's all started from the Mojave Center. We're so remote that there was no option of like, okay, I'm just going to go down the road and get something to eat,
Yeah, we're not heading down to the local diner.
Yeah.
In the desert. Touching back on the golden circle notion, which I'm really psyched on, by the way, if you can't tell. This is the kind of the most outward facing in it's kind of the fruits of your labor. It's the most obvious, and it's what every company kind of knows about themselves. So I kind of want to get into the bread and butter of what you guys are building and tell me about your involvement in it and what specific types of building you guys teach. Just kind of go through the components of earth bag domes and straw bale and cob.
Yeah. So, I mean, our main goal is to incorporate this into as many people's lives as possible. So the earthbag domes is, even though that seems like something that we like focus a lot on, it's actually something that we don't necessarily want to focus completely on. It's just so site specific. And so depending on like soil quality and, in the desert, there's not a lot of fiber, or even in the places like in Mexico where we were just doing the workshops down there. It's like desert as well. So I guess the earth bag kind of just fell into place naturally in the environment that we were in because of that aspect of not having even a lot of clay in some of the soil that we were working with. So being able to put it into bags, getting the compressive strength to the minimum that we need, and then making these structures in like a very wood sparse area in a very like fiber or like plant material area was why we continued with these earth bag domes. And I think that's one of their best advantages, if anything, is that aspect. So that's kind of like the one that we have like felt like we've done a lot of, and that's just because of like this desert kind of environment that we've been working a lot in, but we've also done them in rainier climates as well. Mm-hmm. In terms of straw bale, that's like a project that we're moving more towards this year. We're planning something fairly large in southern Arizona, and that will probably be a collaboration between us and our friends down in south of Tucson. These folks in Canelo.
Oh, yeah.
So the collaboration of those two and like this aspect of these earthbag domes, and really this all these cob and rammed earth and even some timber frame projects will be actually taking place here in southern Arizona coming up here. So that's maybe alludes to like one of our larger projects that we have in the works this year is to build this, demonstrate this very large kind of style house, 2,000 square feet plus house that incorporates all the different natural building styles into one kind of complete package. And so, that's what we're focusing on this year. And once again, it's going to be in a remote area too, close enough to 20 minutes from town, kind of how we are right now, but still pretty remote, so people can connect to this part of the world. But more water this time, so we're looking at more like 15 inches of rain a year, so incorporating more rain tanks and rain harvesting techniques. Tucson, which is the closest city, is like very popular for those aspects just because of this monsoon weather. Mm-hmm. And then still being in like the Southwest, which is kind of like the whole region that we've really decided to focus in for the in terms of the where we focus in on the U.S. and then that incorporates like solar power too. So being able to live off grid and show these demonstrations of solar power in a place that gets 300 plus days of sun a year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Use what you have for energy.
Right.
Yeah. And one of the reasons, we want to demonstrate many different types of natural building is, there is no right way to build, right? Mm-hmm. Every ecosystem has one that has more pros and more that has cons or advantages, disadvantages, whatever. And so we'd love to be able to show many different styles, many different ways so that people can come see, experience, get ideas, learn, and then take that and run with it and be like, oh, actually I'm living in Maine and I don't think the earthbag dome is going to work out, but maybe the straw bale is, what's going to be great up there or whatever,
Yeah. I worked on one earthbag house here actually for this kind of like HGTV kind of thing, TV show. And it was so interesting to me. It was like,
that.
Yeah, it was so wild. It was like, will you do this? I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do it. And they were off the grid, which was funny because they were like 15 feet from the power lines. And then they were building these earthbag, this earthbag dome. And I'm like, there's trees everywhere. Like, why would you do this here? This doesn't make sense. Whereas like in those environments, it makes total sense,
Yeah. And that's something that we definitely impart in all of our students because they come there and in a way they've kind of already like talked themselves into thinking that like, earth dome building is the only way to do stuff, or like that's the best natural building possible. And what we really try to instill is that, a really good natural builder is able to put on various hats and know which one is going to work best for either the type of project they're trying to accomplish or like even the climate that they're living in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Given the available resources too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got a lot of tools in the kit. Which one are you going to use?
Exactly.
Yeah. Talk to me about the natural plasters, because obviously I'm interested in that. What sort of plasters are you guys getting into?
Yeah, so we're doing Cadillac, we're doing lime polish, we're doing just base lime coat stuff, we're doing any kind of clay oriented plasters too. So from just like base kind of cob mix that's a little bit more wet that you can apply with the trowel to more refined clay plasters with just chipped straw and nicer sand and either bagged clay or just filtered clay through a screen. And then even some like, more finished touch plasters with even more refined materials, do like 1/8-inch screens, and incorporating, like, if we're using a bagged clay, different types of pigments and oxides, and experimenting with some recipes that have been given to us by friends, like incorporating toilet paper or newspaper, or kind of finding different fibers other than straw to add to the mix to apply it in a thinner fashion. And even doing clay polishes are really fun. We like doing those. It's get kind of on our fingers, but they look really good afterwards, depending on what color you're working with. I think Nicolette was doing like a blue one the other day, and afterwards she looked kind of like, she's a little bit shorter, so she looked kind of like a Smurf.
Yeah,
and
Smurf fat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Her whole hands were blue.
yeah, and then also carvings, we'll take those aspects and layer in different layers of those clay-based plasters, and then carve cool designs into it. And those are actually some of like our really fun courses, because like she mentioned, maybe we cap we get about 6 students for the natural plasters, and we do like a big mural together. And it's just really, it's cool. It's involved, like we take like a blank wall and turn it into like a really nice kind of masterpiece.
Yeah,
so,
three-dimensional art. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And people love it. So
yeah, we've got this gal, Rebecca Gilling from the United Kingdom. She's on our, she's a plaster on our artist series courses on our plaster portal, and she teaches all of this just unbelievable sculpture out of clay and lime on it.
Nice.
She can teach anybody anywhere in the world.
that's awesome.
It's so cool. When you guys are coating over like earth bag domes, I mean, I know what we did to get our plaster to stick. How is the plaster getting keyed into the bags?
Yeah, so I mean, on the inside, it can be challenging. Like a wiser man or person than me once said that, what they say about plastering over your head is that you just don't. And so that, we've been able to do a lot of these dome structures and be able to get like the cob and the mix to key in pretty well to the polypropylene bags.
Mm-hmm.
Some people burn them away. We've done some of that too. That helps like these clay material or these natural materials combine with each other. But then often, if you're applying a conservative amount at a time and waiting for it to dry, like we can just key it straight into the bags, at least on the interior coats. For exterior stuff, we're going to take like anywhere from chicken wire to like plastic deer fencing to, aspects of hardware cloth, depending if it's like a small section, and then kind of doing, specifically with these domes, since they don't have like a roof, we're doing kind of more of a heavy duty plaster with like starting with like 50% lime, 50% cement. We might reduce a little bit of the cement on the subsequent coats, but some people just do like a straight cement plaster on the outside, which we don't really think that like breathes as well. So that's why we incorporate some kind of slaked lime or soaked lime into the mix to give some breathability for those exterior walls. But we're still applying like either an acrylic or an elastomeric paint on the outside too. So that could potentially stop some of the movement of that humidity in the walls towards the outside. But luckily we don't do any kind of like cement-based plasters on the inside, unless it's like, it's like maybe a shower area, but that's still like a mixture of lime and some cement,
Do you think? And I'm just think tanking on this as I'm listening to you talk. Do you think that the polyvinyl in the bags would that help as your vapor barrier? Just for moisture kind of ebbing and flowing from inside out.
Yeah. Well, they actually have like there's like little slits in all of. It's not like a solid piece of plastic. Mm-hmm. It's like woven, so there's like it has those slits in it, and I think that allows the breathability to happen between the walls. It's just specifically with domes, like if since they don't have a roof, like you have to have some sort of, and we've experimented with all different types. Like we've done from like the more kind of intense aspect of it was like cement lime base plasters to get it like to a nice shape, and then doing like a multiple coats of elastomeric paint, like almost roofing coat paint, to less extreme where we're just doing kind of like lime based plasters, a little bit of cement, but mainly lime, and then taking a lime wash to get colors, and then on top of that taking like a really breathable masonry sealer on. So protects the lime on the top as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, because if not, you're just going to be, every couple of years just continually coating with the lime wash.
Yeah, totally. So that's, I guess, the idea between the sealers is what we've experimented with. And so that's either going to be a sealer or some kind of like heavy duty paint. And that's just particular for these domes, which is kind of, I guess, maybe one of the disadvantages behind it too.
Yeah. You got to talk to my buddy, Andrea Friedel from Bauwerk Color in Germany. That's all they do is lime washes, and they are total scientists. He formulated all of these plasters in the Middle East for a decade so that his lime washes would stick to them.
Yeah, cool.
Unbelievable wealth of knowledge this guy is.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Have to meet him.
Yeah. I think in this day and age, post-COVID, it takes a village to do just about anything in the world. So besides you two, I know you mentioned a couple other people, but who are some of the key players at the Mojave Center, and what are their roles?
Some of the key players. That's
Well, Jared's definitely one of them.
Yeah, we have like another co-instructor, who was actually one of our first students too, who just he could talk about probably earth domes in particular. I don't know if he really enjoys plaster work as much. We've come to notice, but he is, he's quote unquote kind of like a dome hound, as you could call it. Like once he gets on that thing, he won't come off.
Yeah.
So, and he's one of our really go-to people, and we'll actually be working more with Nicolette throughout these next couple workshops coming up. And that's one of the key players. And then, if we're just doing shout outs right now, it's really the people that are now have become really good friends with us, but have like supported us from the beginning and what we've done. And so when we think about the village of the Mojave Center, we think about literally like, and not to be cheesy, but like every single student that has come through that place, and a majority of them now being our friends or the people that like support us or that are interested in like having some way of adopting what we're kind of doing into their life too, or not what we're doing, but I guess the aspects of natural building into their own life as well. So I would say our village, even though sometimes we don't live together, is fairly large, like within the 50s or the 75s or like the hundreds of people that, out of all that big pool of students that really just are pivotal folks and like how we're able to even continue doing what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, again, for me not to be cheesy, because I'm kind of like listening to what you're saying and getting some goosebumps for sure. They can come home, so to speak, through through things like social media and share with the world what they started to learn from you guys, and then took those skills out into the world and are able to implement them. So I think that's amazing. And it's back to, the golden circle with the why, and it's how the workforce is actually engaged,
right?
Which is amazing. And companies and leaders that inspire kind of do it from the inside out with the golden circle. And I think their workforce and customers, and in your case, it seems like both, seem to not only buy what you do, but more importantly, they're buying why you're doing it. And I think that's just so awesome. And it's like total perfection at its finest for me. And I often watch a lot of movers and shakers in the world and folks that can't sit still. And I'm 100% one of them. And I'm always really impressed. And it's clear to me that you guys are definitely movers and shakers. So, what's next for you two individually? Because you guys need to take care of yourselves as a couple. And then what's next for the Mojave Center?
Yeah, so I'll start. I'm in the process of becoming a firefighter and most likely a paramedic in the city of Henderson, Nevada. So that will just complement my life as well. The natural building will too, and everything that we do at the Mojave Center. Since, and I sometimes think about the amount of our life is very alternative. I feel like me personally, I need to have like a little bit of skim milk or like to my amount of granola.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, it totally makes sense. Yeah, you need a little Wonder Bread to your burrito. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea behind that. And I've always also, that's like maybe a little bit unrelated, but similar to that, being in the outdoor industry for a while, that gave me skills to be like, okay, like how can I help people more in like a larger city and a larger community aspect? And so the best job that kind of really formulated in my head was being involved in the fire service and being involved in emergency medicine. And so that's one aspect for me. I don't know if that's like really resting. It seems like it's just more work, but but that's okay. I think going back to that movers and shakers thing, like both her and I are like people that are always looking for how we can become better, I think, and become more involved in the communities that surround us. So that's, I guess, what's on our plate for that. And in terms of the Mojave Center, I think we kind of mentioned it a little bit. As we're looking now for kind of expanding to our next campus, which will be down in that southern Arizona area in the Cochise County, which is pretty popular for alternative style buildings. But once again, trying out a new climate, something with a little bit more rain, something with a little bit different like temperatures, highs and lows, and then also access to a whole new like array of resources available, mainly in the aspect of like wood and being able to experiment more with those future workshops of timber frame and cheaper straw prices down there as well due to more agriculture. So being able to showcase more of these straw bale houses is the direction that we're heading in.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so I think like the Mojave Center is definitely shifting a bit, and like where I see Ian mentioned, so Jared's going to be working with us a lot more. We're kind of shifting to more of hosting these like offsite from the Mojave Center location, the original location, and starting that like process of giving back to our previous students, because now there's a lot of them that are ready to build, they've, have the land, they've done a little bit more research, whatever is starting to kind of line up where now we have the resources to take everything and do this kind of, what do we call it, like traveling workshop, where we can post up in different locations. And so that's kind of what I'm going to be spearheading. Jared and I are going to be spearheading for the next year. I mean, we've already got four projects on the schedule for later this year that are going to be open for workshoppers to attend. And so we're excited about this like new launch of hosting offsite, which is very like exciting and new, and allows us to build in different climates. Like I mentioned, so the Joshua Tree area, northern California. We're going to do one in New Mexico, and and then southern Arizona.
Yeah, and also expanding kind of on our international programs as well. So after our last two courses in southern or Baja California, we were able to notice and kind of track that we were getting these students that would have a harder time taking a course domestically due to visa restrictions or wherever they're coming from in the world. So that really hit home for us on being able to offer more workshops in an international format, and then also how that brings together like different cultures, and that can make a really rich experience for the students as well too. So we're looking ahead at a potential project in Portugal and another potential project again in Mexico as we work with our one past student on that Mexico center down there to kind of start making that more of a hub for international courses as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we at New Age Arsons we've got a pretty wide stretch around the world, and we've got some connections. So please, as you move forward on these projects, don't be shy to reach out to me. And I would love to help and integrate myself into any and all of your events, because you guys rock. So
thank you.
Yeah.
You do too.
Hey, thanks. We all rock. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to us. And I can't wait to just keep following your story because it is awesome. And as we mentioned, it's in its infancy and it's going to grow into something even more awesome than it is today, which is unbelievable to even think what that will be. So thank you so much.
Cool, yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for inviting us to be on here. We're happy to share. Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll chat real soon.
Great.
Thanks so much to everyone for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week for a special Across the Pond Father-Son edition with Philip Gaishes and his son William. A proud and founding member of our Plaster Portal Artist Series, Philip has traveled the world perfecting his trowel techniques. We were lucky enough to meet him several years ago in France, and we've been fast friends ever since. As trusted industry professionals, we're honored to host his son William here while he travels abroad, carrying on his family traditions of craft, education, and adventure. William will be live in our studio detailing his newfound American modern veneer skills, while Dad will be home in the UK carrying on the proud tradition of heritage plastering. You won't want to miss this heartfelt episode, as it'll be sure to put a smile on your face. Until next time, cheers!